Hello, Eric Gimbal, ericgimbal.com, and today my 5 photography tips for May 2017. Let's start. First of all, thank you to Claudia for being behind the camera, watching and checking and making everything. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/ericgimbal. If you have any question, you can send me an email to info@ericgimbal.com or check my website, ericgimbal.com. Let's start with tip number 1. I don't know if you make a building photography, or when you're on the street, or a church or building or a skyscraper or whatever, okay? The problem is when processing the picture, you want to correct the perspective like this, okay? And you will see that when you do this, when the building looks like this, when you twist like this, then it will get cut at the bottom or at the top. So it's very important that if you already know that you will correct this, that you actually leave some space around the building. So when you do the correction, then it fits, it doesn't cut too much. Of course, you will lose some resolution, but with the cameras we have nowadays, it's not too much of a problem. You can also make 2 pictures of the same building, one which is cut just as you want, another one you leave some space around. Tip or advice number 2, it's important that you choose the colors of your clothes or backpack or camera bag according to what you're going to do. Imagine you're making wedding photography, and you go with a pink, a really pinkish clothes, and then you're making the pictures, and all the guests are actually making pictures too, and all the picture they will see one guy fully pinked, and that's you, okay? So all depends what you're going to do. So I recommend you check like black clothes or khaki clothes or green, whatever. It all depends on what you're going to do. Same thing with your backpack or your camera bag, and also with the camera itself. It used to be a time when black was thought for professional photographers, and the silver one was for amateur. Nowadays it's not that much of a problem. Why? Because silver could make some reflection, and from far you could say, oh, there is a camera there. If it was black, it's supposed not to be that easy to see, although you can have reflection on the front lens anyway, okay? So depending on what you're going to do, think about the clothes you're going to wear. Don't forget that animals normally don't see much difference between colors. They see more like a one tone, or like a black and white, although it's not black and white, maybe it's blue and gray or whatever, okay? So it's not a problem to go, if you do nature photography, to go with fluorescent clothes, because if there are some hunters, it's better that they see that there is a guy making picture there than thinking you're an animal and they just shoot you, you know? So it just all depends on what you're going to do. Think about the color of your material and your clothes. Advice number 3, a small accessory, which is a pack of serviettes, okay? It's important that you always have one. This is a big one, 80 units, so you can have it in your car, but there are also thinner one that like 20 units, so you could have in your camera bag. Why? Because when you're going to make pictures, maybe you take your car and then you have flat tire and you have to change, put the spare tire. So these are humid towels, okay? So you can actually properly clean your hands before touching your material. Or maybe you've been setting like still photography, like small plants or earth or whatever, or mud or whatever, and you have that on your hands, and you can actually clean. Also, your gear just touch the floor because you put your camera there or your bag or whatever, and then just clean it easily and immediately before it dries, okay? So don't forget, this is really simple, but this is the kind of accessory that you should always have close to you. Tip number 4. Very often we want to protect our lenses or camera body, And there are two kinds of protection. The one against shocks, like you bump it, or against humidity. So for the first one, there is an easy, very cheap way is to use sport socks, like the typical tennis sock. You just take your lens, you put it in the sock, and then you put it in your bag. So even if it bumps a bit on the side of the bag, or when you take it out of the bag, it would dump on the floor. It's more protected. Okay, and then when it's a problem with humidity because your camera or your lens is not protected against humidity, you should use some typical gloves, latex gloves. Very important. Take gloves without any powder or anything in there. Just straight gloves, latex gloves. So you just open the gloves as much as you can. You put the lens in there and you make a small knot. Obviously, when you've done a knot, you cannot reuse the glove later, so carry several with you. But this way, if you have to do like go for an excursion and there is like 3-4 hours working in humidity, you could put all your gear, I mean each lens and the body, in a glove, and when you get there you just open them, make your picture, and then put new gloves to come back, but it will be seriously protected. Same thing if you have to cross a river, even on a small boat or whatever, and you think your bag could receive water or even fall in the river. Well, you could protect everything before, make tight knots, and when you're on the other side, then you open them, and then it's been protected just in case. Okay, so this is something really simple, but I think it could save your material. Tip number 5. Now there are many cameras with in-body camera stabilization. Okay, so image stabilization. The problem is that when you want to clean the sensor, you will notice that if you use a small stick or whatever you use, small pencil, whatever, the sensor is moving because the image stabilization is working. Okay, it's, even if camera is switched off, it's working. So the trick is depend on the camera you have, but on the Olympus is you must tip on the side of the camera, and then you will see it will lock the stabilization, and then if you take off the lens, you will see it's locked. Okay, unless you really achieve locking the sensor, you should not start cleaning, because you can actually damage the stabilization system. Okay, in case this tip doesn't work for you, or you try everything and you cannot manage to see it locked, you should go to a technical service to have your sensor cleaned, because otherwise you may damage the image stabilization. Well, that's it. These were my tips for May 2017. Thank you to Claudia for checking the camera, working on the zoom and all this. She's waving goodbye. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Eric Gibaud, my Facebook, Eric Gibaud Photo, my Instagram, Gibaud. If you have any question, you can send me an email to info@ericgibaud.com, my Twitter, Eric Gibaud, Google++ Eric Gibaud, and I think that's it. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.